The deception. The vast emptiness of space was shattered by a piercing distress signal. It echoed across the void, reaching Earth's advanced listening posts scattered throughout the solar system. The message was clear: an alien vessel, damaged and in dire need of assistance. Earth's United Space Command convened an emergency meeting. Admiral Sarah Chen, a veteran of numerous space exploration missions, addressed the assembly. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been preparing for. First contact. But it's not the meet and greet we anticipated. These beings need our help." The room buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Humanity had long wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, they had their answer. Dr. Amit Patel, the lead xenobiologist, stepped forward. "Admiral, we have no idea what these beings look like, how they breathe, or what they consider to be a hospitable environment. This rescue mission could be more dangerous than we can imagine." Admiral Chen nodded grimly. "Agreed, but we can't ignore a cry for help. Prepare the ISS Horizon for immediate launch. I want our best and brightest on this mission." Within hours, the ISS Horizon, Earth's most advanced rescue and first contact vessel, blasted off from the lunar base. Its crew, a diverse mix of astronauts, scientists, and linguistic experts, had trained for years for this very scenario. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Helm, set course for the distress signal. Maximum speed. As the horizon approached the coordinates, they saw it, a massive silver vessel, easily 10 times the size of their ship. Its hull was scared with what appeared to be weapons fire, and a faint, pulsing blue light emanated from its core. "My God," whispered Dr. James Wong, the ship's engineer. "Their technology. It's like nothing we've ever seen." Captain Rodriguez steeled herself. "Open a channel. Let's hope our translation matrix works." A series of clicks and whistles filled the bridge, slowly morphing into recognizable speech. "Assistance required. Life support failing. Please help. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth vessel ISS Horizon. We're here to help. Can you tell us what happened?" There was a pause, then, "Greetings, Earth vessel. We are the Zarkath. Our ship was attacked by space pirates. Many systems damage. We thank you for your aid." The rescue operation was complex and dangerous. The Horizon's crew worked tirelessly, using every tool and technique at their disposal to stabilize the alien vessel and treat the injured Zarkath. The aliens, tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and 4 arms, watched the humans with what seemed like a mixture of gratitude and curiosity. As the days passed, cultural exchanges began. The Zarkath shared stories of their vast interstellar confederation, their advanced technology, and their peaceful exploration of the galaxy. Humanity, in turn, spoke of their own history, their triumphs and failures, their art and music. Dr. Lena Ivanova, the ship's cultural liaison, couldn't shake a feeling of unease. "Captain," she said during a private meeting, "something doesn't add up. The Zarkath claim to be peaceful explorers, but their ship is heavily armed. And some of the damage, it doesn't look like pirate weapons." Captain Rodriguez frowned. "What are you suggesting, Doctor?" "I'm not sure. But I think we need to be cautious, very cautious." Unbeknownst to the humans, deep within the Zarkath vessel, a different conversation was taking place. Supreme Commander Zixtal addressed his officers. "These humans are unexpected. Their technology is primitive, yet they manage to assist us. Their bodies are fragile, yet they risked their lives to save ours." Sub-Commander Vrelna nodded. "They are confusing, Supreme Commander. They speak of peace, yet their history is filled with war. They claim to value life, yet they constantly endanger themselves. Are they brave or foolish?" Zixtal's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps they are both. But make no mistake, their apparent kindness is a weakness. Once our systems are fully repaired, we will strike. Earth's resources will be ours, and these humans will learn the price of their naivety. Back on the horizon, Dr. Ivanova couldn't shake her suspicions. Late one night, she decided to do some covert research. Slipping into the ship's data core, she began cross-referencing the Zarkath's stories with the damage patterns on their ship. Suddenly, a hand grasped her shoulder. She whirled around to find Zarkath Sub-Commander Vrelna looming over her. "Curious humans," Vrelna said, her voice cold. "Always seeking knowledge. But some knowledge is dangerous." Before Ivanova could react, a sharp pain exploded in her head, and everything went black. The next morning, Captain Rodriguez was concerned when Dr. Ivanova didn't show up for her shift. "Computer, locate Dr. Ivanova." "Dr. Ivanova is not on board the ISS Horizon," the computer replied. Alarms spread through the crew. Search parties were organized, but there was no trace of the doctor. When questioned, the Zarkath expressed surprise and offered to help with the search. As tensions mounted, a message came through from Earth. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the main screen, her expression grave. "Captain Rodriguez, we've detected a massive energy buildup in the Zarkath vessel. It doesn't match any known power signature. You need to get your people out of there now." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the horizon. The Zarkath ship was powering up its weapons systems. Captain Rodriguez's blood ran cold as she realized the terrible truth. They'd been deceived from the very beginning. "All hands, battle stations," she shouted. "Helm, evasive maneuvers." The horizon narrowly avoided the first barrage of alien weapons fire. As the ship shuddered under the assault, Captain Rodriguez opened a channel to the Zarkath vessel. "Why are you doing this? We helped you." Supreme Commander Sixtel's face appeared on the screen, his expression a mixture of disdain and amusement. "Foolish humans, your compassion is your downfall. Did you really think we would be grateful? Your planet's resources will serve a greater purpose under Zarkath control." As the horizon desperately tried to escape, transmitting warnings back to Earth, the true scale of the deception became clear. The Zarkath weren't a lone damaged vessel. They were the vanguard of an invasion fleet, hidden just beyond the range of Earth's sensors. The ISS Horizon managed to slip away, limping back towards Earth with its terrible warning. But the price had been high. Dr. Ivanova was gone, likely taken prisoner by the Zarkath, and humanity's first contact with alien life had turned into a nightmare. As the battered ship approached Earth, Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge, watching her home planet grow larger in the view screen. She thought of the Zarkath's words about compassion being a weakness, her hands clenched into fists. "No," she said softly, but with iron determination. "Our compassion, our willingness to help others, that's not our weakness. It's our strength, and we're about to show the galaxy just how strong humanity can be." The ISS Horizon docked at the orbital station, its crew disembarking with grim faces and heavy hearts. As Captain Rodriguez stepped onto the station, she was met by Admiral Chen. Unconventional warfare. The skies over Earth's major cities darkened as massive Zarkath warships descended, their weapon systems glowing with barely contained energy. Humanity's first line of defense, a network of orbital platforms and fighter squadrons, was swept aside like leaves in a storm. In New York, Tokyo, London, and a dozen other metropolises, panic gripped the populace. The Zarkath's opening salvo reduced skyscrapers to rubble and turned busy streets into war zones. Earth's military forces scrambled to respond, but their most advanced jets and tanks seemed woefully inadequate against the aliens' energy shields and plasma weapons. At the United Nations Emergency Command Center, buried deep beneath the Swiss Alps, world leaders gathered to coordinate humanity's response. The mood was grim. "We've lost contact with 60% of our major cities," reported General Zhao of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. "Our conventional weapons are barely scratching their ships." U.S. President Amara Harrison slammed her fist on the table. "There has to be something we can do. We can't just roll over and die." As if in answer to her outburst, a junior communications officer burst into the room. Madame President, Generals, we're receiving a transmission. It's from a group of civilian hackers. On the main screen, a young woman with bright blue hair appeared. She looked exhausted but determined. This is Sky, representing the Phantom Protocol Collective. We've managed to breach the Zarkath's communication networks. We can help. For a moment, the room was silent. Then President Harrison leaned forward. Young lady, you have our full attention. Halfway across the world, in the ruins of Seattle, Captain Elena Rodriguez led a ragtag group of survivors through the city's underground tunnel system. The constant rumble of Zarkath energy weapons above made dust rain from the ceiling. Captain, whispered Dr. James Wong, clutching a makeshift electromagnetic pulse device, where exactly are we going? Rodriguez's eyes gleamed in the dim light. Remember those space pirates the Zarkath mentioned? I had a hunch they weren't lying about everything. If pirates could hurt them, so can we. We're going hunting. As they emerged from the tunnels into the devastated city, they saw a Zarkath ground patrol. The aliens moved with an almost casual arrogance, clearly not expecting any resistance. Rodriguez grinned. Perfect, Dr. Wong. Let's test that EMP. The device hummed to life, sending out an invisible pulse. The effect was instantaneous. The Zarkath soldiers stumbled. Their high-tech armor suddenly dead weight. Before they could recover, Rodriguez's team struck, using the aliens' own weapons against them. As the dust settled, Rodriguez activated her secure comlink. This is Captain Rodriguez to all resistance cells. EMPs are effective against Zarkath ground forces. Spread the word. In the dense jungles of Brazil, another kind of resistance was taking shape. Dr. Raul Mendez, a renowned biologist, led a team of scientists and indigenous guides deep into the Amazon. The Zarkath have never encountered Earth's biodiversity, Mendez explained as they trekked through the undergrowth. Our planet's own defenses might be our best weapon. They reached a clearing where dozens of cages held a menagerie of creatures: poison dart frogs, bullet ants, and plants with neurotoxin-laced thorns. Mendez turned to his team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Operation Rainforest's Revenge. Back at the UN Command Center, the Phantom Protocol hackers had become an integral part of Earth's defense strategy. Sky's fingers flew over her keyboard as she explained their findings. The Zarkath use a kind of organic synthetic hybrid for their computer systems. It's incredibly advanced, but it's also vulnerable to specific types of cyber attacks. We're working on a virus that could potentially disrupt their entire fleet. General Zhao looked skeptical. A computer virus? Against an alien armada? Sky's eyes never left her screen. With all due respect, General, this isn't just a computer virus. It's a lifeline for our entire species. As the hackers worked, reports began flooding in from around the globe. The Zarkath invasion was not going as smoothly as they had anticipated. In Russia, tanks hidden under advanced camouflage netting emerged from the snow to ambush alien ground forces. In Australia, Zarkath patrols found themselves bogged down in the outback, harassed by guerrilla fighters using the harsh terrain to their advantage. And in the skies over Europe, squadrons of older, non-computerized aircraft proved surprisingly effective against the aliens' high-tech targeting systems. Supreme Commander Zixtal raged on the bridge of his flagship. How is this possible? These primitives should have been crushed by now. Sub-Commander Vrolna approached cautiously. Supreme Commander, we're receiving disturbing reports from our ground forces. The humans are using their planet against us. Poisonous creatures, treacherous terrains, even their own germs are taking a toll on our troops. Zixtal's eyes narrowed. And what of the prisoner? Has she revealed anything useful? In the depths of the Zarkath ship, Dr. Lena Ivanova sat in her cell, her mind racing. She had been interrogated for days, but she had also been watching, learning. The Zarkath, for all their technological superiority, had a fatal flaw. They were inflexible, unable to adapt quickly to new situations. A guard approached her cell. The Supreme Commander demands your presence. Ivanova stood, a plan forming in her mind. Well, she said with a grim smile, we shouldn't keep him waiting. On Earth, the tide of battle was slowly turning. The Phantom Protocols virus had begun to wreak havoc on the Zarkaf fleet, causing ships to lose power or fire on their own allies. Captain Rodriguez's guerrilla tactics had been adopted worldwide, turning every city into a deadly maze for the invaders. But the real surprise came from Dr. Mendez and his team. Specially bred insects, carrying a virus harmless to humans, but lethal to Zarkaf biology, were released near alien encampments. Within days, entire Zarkaf battalions were incapacitated. At the UN Command Center, President Harrison addressed the world's leaders. We're pushing them back, but this is far from over. We need to take the fight to them. A holographic display showed the largest Zarkaf mothership, still in orbit. That's their command center, General Zhao pointed out. If we could infiltrate it. Sky, the hacker, spoke up. We might have a way. That virus we created, with some modifications, it could be used to hijack their teleportation technology. President Harrison's eyes gleamed. A Trojan horse, but who would we send on such a mission? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Wong, patched in from Seattle, cleared his throat. I have an idea, but you're not going to like it. As the leaders debated this audacious plan, high above the Earth, Dr. Ivanova was brought before Supreme Commander Zixtal. Human, Zixtal growled, your species continues to resist. Tell me, what is the source of this unexpected tenacity? Ivanova stood tall, defiance blazing in her eyes. You call it weakness, Zixtal. We call it humanity. And you're about to learn just how strong we can be. At that moment, alarms blared throughout the ship. On the main view screen, a sight that chilled even the Zarkaf appeared. Thousands of small craft rising from Earth, a desperate, determined armada of humanity's last hope. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. And with it, the true test of humanity's unconventional warfare, the human element. As Earth's makeshift fleet rose to meet the Zarkaf armada, an unlikely drama was unfolding on the outskirts of a devastated Chicago. Private First Class Michael Chen, separated from his unit during a fierce skirmish, found himself face to face with a lone Zarkaf soldier. Both were wounded, their weapons just out of reach. For a tense moment, they stared at each other, years of military training screaming at them to eliminate the enemy. But something else stirred in Michael's heart. Curiosity and a flicker of empathy. Why? Michael asked, his voice hoarse. Why this war? The Zarkaf, taken aback by the question, hesitated before responding in halting English. It is our way. The strong conquer, the weak perish. Michael shook his head. That's not strength. That's just cruelty. As they talked, a strange thing happened. The Zarkaf soldier, who introduced himself as Krell, began to question everything he had been taught about humans and about his own society's philosophy. Your people, Krell said, wonder in his voice. They fight not for conquest, but for each other. This is new to me. Their unexpected dialogue would plant the seeds of doubt among the Zarkaf ranks, spreading through the neural networks that connected their forces. Meanwhile, high above the Earth, Dr. Lena Ivanova was putting her daring plan into action. Using the knowledge she had gleaned during her captivity, she manipulated the Zarkaf's own systems against them. Warning, the ship's AI announced, anomaly detected in the neural implant network. Supreme Commander Zixtal turned to his subordinates in alarm. What is happening? On screens throughout the ship, images began to play. Scenes of human history, not of war and conquest, but of compassion, innovation, and unity in the face of adversity. The moon landing, the eradication of diseases, people from different nations coming together to help during natural disasters. This is the enemy you seek to destroy. Ivanova's voice rang out. A species capable of both great darkness and incredible light. Are you so sure we are the ones who are weak? The images sowed confusion and discord among the Zarkath crew. Some, like Krell on the surface, began to question their mission. Others, led by the increasingly unstable Zixtal, became even more determined to crush humanity. Back on Earth, the Phantom Protocol team had succeeded in their most audacious hack yet. Sky, her blue hair now streaked with stress-induced gray, addressed the UN Emergency Command. "We've done it," she said, her voice filled with equal parts exhaustion and excitement. "We can use their own teleportation technology against them. But there's a catch." The catch, as it turned out, was significant. The teleportation process would be incredibly dangerous for humans. There was a high chance that anyone attempting it wouldn't survive. President Harrison's face was grim as she processed the information. "So we're asking for volunteers on what amounts to a suicide mission." The room fell silent, the weight of the decision heavy on everyone's shoulders. Then a voice crackled over the comms. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez. My team and I volunteer." Around the world, in hidden bunkers and makeshift command centers, similar scenes played out. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians alike stepped forward, willing to risk everything for a chance to end the war. Dr. Raul Mendez, fresh from the success of his biological warfare campaign, proposed a daring addition to the plan. "We've been fighting the Zarkath by exploiting their unfamiliarity with Earth's biodiversity. Why not bring that biodiversity to them?" His team quickly assembled specialized containers filled with Earth's most resilient and adaptable organisms, tardigrades, bacteria that could survive in extreme conditions, and seeds of rapidly growing plants that could thrive in alien environments. "If we can't beat them with brawn," Mendes said with a grim smile, "we'll overwhelm them with life itself." As the volunteers prepared for their perilous mission, Dr. James Wong made a breakthrough that would change the course of the war. Studying the captured Zarkath technology, he realized that their neural implants had a critical vulnerability. "Their entire military structure relies on these implants," he explained to the command staff. "They're not just for communication. They're for control. If we can disrupt them." The plan quickly took shape. The teleportation teams would be split into two groups. One would head for the Zarkath command ship to rescue Dr. Ivanova and take control of their systems. The other would spread throughout the fleet, planting disruptors to scramble the neural implants. As the hour of humanity's desperate gambit approached, Michael Chen and Krell, the unlikely allies, had made their way to a Zarkath forward base. Their story of understanding and cooperation had spread, creating a small but growing faction of Zarkath who questioned the invasion. "Your people's strength," Krell told Michael, "it comes not from dominance, but from diversity. From your ability to work together despite your differences. This is something my kind has never understood." Michael nodded. "It's not always easy. We fight, we disagree. But when it really matters, we stand united." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of alarms. The human counterattack had begun. Across the globe, the volunteers vanished in flashes of light. The Zarkath's own technology turned against them. They reappeared throughout the alien fleet, their bodies racked with pain from the imperfect teleportation process, but their spirits unbroken. On the Zarkath command ship, Captain Rodriguez and her team materialized in a shower of sparks. "Find Dr. Ivanova," she ordered through gritted teeth, "and let's show these aliens what humanity is really made of." As the human strike teams fought their way through the alien ships, Dr. Mendes' biological packages were released. In the sterile environments of the Zarkath vessels, Earth's microorganisms and rapidly growing plants found fertile ground, quickly spreading and causing havoc with the ship's systems. Meanwhile, the neural disruptors began to take effect. All across the Zarkath fleet, confusion reigned as the implants that had guided and controlled the aliens for generations suddenly went haywire. In the command ship's central chamber, Supreme Commander Zixtal watched in horror as his carefully laid plans crumbled. "Impossible," he muttered. "They were weak, divided. How could they do this?" Dr. Ivanova, who had been brought to the command center, smiled despite her injuries. You never understood, Commander. Our divisions, our conflicts, they've forced us to grow, to adapt. We've had to learn to work together despite our differences. And that has made us stronger than you could ever imagine. As if to punctuate her words, the doors burst open, and Captain Rodriguez's team stormed in, Earth's most diverse fighting force facing down the Zarkath's genetically engineered warriors. The battle that followed was fierce, but the outcome was never really in doubt. With their neural networks in chaos and their ships overrun by Earth's microscopic invaders, the Zarkath's rigid military structure collapsed. In the end, it was Krell who approached Commander Zixtal, Michael Chen by his side. Supreme Commander, Krell said, his voice steady, it's over. We were wrong about the humans. It's time to end this war. As the Zarkath fleet hung motionless in Earth's orbit, no longer a threat but a testament to humanity's incredible resolve, people across the globe emerged from their shelters. They looked to the sky not in fear, but in awe of what they had accomplished together. In the UN Command Center, President Harrison addressed the world. Today, we have shown the galaxy what it truly means to be human. Our strength lies not in conquest, but in our unity, our diversity, and our unbreakable spirit. The road ahead will be long, but make no mistake, humanity has taken its first steps into a larger universe, and we do so not as conquerors, but as explorers, diplomats, and peacekeepers. As cheers erupted around the world, Captain Rodriguez, Dr. Ivanova, and their team watched from the captured Zarkath command ship. The Earth, blue and beautiful, spun below them, a symbol of hope and resilience. So, Dr. Ivanova said with a tired smile, "What's our next mission?" Captain Rodriguez looked at her diverse crew, soldiers, scientists, hackers, and even a few reformed Zarkath. "Oh, I think we're just getting started. The galaxy won't know what hit it." And with that, humanity's greatest adventure began, turning the tides. The celebration of humanity's unexpected victory was short-lived. As the dust settled and the adrenaline wore off, the true scale of the challenge ahead became apparent. The Zarkath fleet, though defeated, still loomed in Earth's orbit, a reminder of the precarious peace and the monumental task of reconciliation that lay ahead. Dr. Amit Patel, the xenobiologist who had first warned of the dangers of the rescue mission, now found himself at the forefront of a new crisis. The electromagnetic pulse weapons we used, he explained to a grim-faced UN Security Council, they didn't just disable the Zarkath technology. They've created an unforeseen reaction with their neural implants. Holographic displays showed the brain scans of Zarkath individuals, their neural pathways lighting up in chaotic patterns. Their entire society was built around these implants, Dr. Patel continued. Without them, they're losing not just their technology, but their very sense of self. If we don't find a solution quickly, we could be looking at the complete psychological collapse of their entire species. The irony was not lost on anyone present. Humanity's greatest triumph could lead to the inadvertent genocide of their former enemies. President Harrison's voice cut through the murmurs of dismay. We didn't fight this war just to become the monsters we defeated. We need options, people. Now. As if on cue, a familiar blue-haired figure appeared on one of the screens. Sky, the hacker prodigy, looked even more exhausted than before, but her eyes sparkled with determination. Madame President, I think we might have something. But you're not going to like it. Sky's plan was audacious to the point of insanity. Use the captured Zarkath technology to create a human-compatible version of their neural network. Connect human volunteers to the failing Zarkath system. Use the human minds as a bridge to stabilize the aliens' neural patterns. You're talking about connecting human brains directly to alien minds. General Zhao asked, his voice a mixture of awe and horror. The risks are enormous, Sky finished for him. But it's the only way to save them. And maybe, just maybe, it's our chance to truly understand them. As the debate raged in the UN chamber, Captain Elena Rodriguez and her team were facing a crisis of their own. The captured Zarkath command ship, which they had hoped to use to coordinate the peace efforts, was failing. The human-introduced organisms that had been so effective in disabling the alien fleet were now threatening to overrun the life support systems. Menda's little pets are too damn good at their job, Rodriguez muttered as she and Dr. Wong raced through the corridors, manually sealing off sections of the ship. We need to find a way to control them, or we'll lose everything we've gained. Dr. Wong's eyes lit up. Captain, I have an idea. But we're going to need help from an unlikely source. In the ship's makeshift brig, Zixtal, the former supreme commander of the Zarkath fleet, sat in sullen silence. When Rodriguez and Wong approached his cell, he didn't even look up. We need your help, Rodriguez said without preamble. Your people's biomechanical technology. Can it be adapted to control organic growth? For a long moment, Zixtal was silent. Then, slowly, he raised his head. You defeated us using the very life of your world, he said, his voice a mix of bitterness and grudging respect. And now you ask for our help to control it. That's right, Rodriguez replied, her gaze steady. Because despite everything, we don't want your people to die. We want to find a way forward, together. Something shifted in Zixtal's eyes. Perhaps, he said slowly, we have more to learn from each other than I realized. As this unlikely alliance began work on saving the command ship, back on Earth, preparations for Sky's daring plan were underway. The call for volunteers to connect with the Zarkath neural network had gone out, and the response was overwhelming. People from all walks of life, scientists, soldiers, teachers, artists, stepped forward, willing to risk their minds to save a species that had, just days ago, been bent on destroying them. Dr. Lena Ivanova, still bearing the scars of her captivity, was among the first to volunteer. I've been inside their minds, she said as the technicians prepared her for the procedure. I've seen their fears, their hopes. They're not so different from us. As the human volunteers were connected to the failing Zarkath network, something extraordinary began to happen. The chaos in the alien neural patterns began to stabilize, but more than that, a true exchange of thoughts and experiences flowed between the two species. Humans felt the exhilaration of faster-than-light travel, the wonder of seeing distant galaxies up close. The Zarkath, in turn, experienced the simple joys of a summer day on Earth, the complex emotions of human art and music. But it wasn't all beauty and light. Both species also shared their darkest moments, humanity's wars and atrocities, the Zarkath's history of ruthless expansion. Yet in sharing these horrors, both found a common ground, a shared determination to be better. As the neural link strengthened, Sky and her team noticed something unexpected. The human brainwaves, she explained to the rapt UN audience, they're not just stabilizing the Zarkath patterns, they're evolving them, creating new neural pathways that combine the best of both species. On the Zarkath command ship, now teeming with a controlled growth of Earth organisms, Captain Rodriguez watched in awe as the ship's systems came back online, now powered by a hybrid of Zarkath technology and Earth's biology. It's beautiful, Dr. Wong breathed, watching the living circuitry pulse with energy. Zixtal, standing beside them, nodded slowly. Yes, he said, it is. But even as hope blossomed, a new threat loomed on the horizon. The long-range sensors, newly reactivated, picked up a massive energy signature at the edge of the solar system. It's another Zarkath fleet, Zixtal said, his voice grim. The main invasion force. They will not understand what has happened here. They will see only that the vanguard has failed, and they will show no mercy. Rodriguez's jaw set in determination. Then we'll just have to make them understand. As word of the approaching threat spread, the people of Earth rallied once again. But this time, they were not alone. The Zarkath, who had experienced the neural link, stood with them, ready to defend their newfound understanding. In orbit, a new fleet took shape. Zarkath ships powered by Earth's biology, human vessels upgraded with alien technology. At the helm of the flagship stood Captain Rodriguez, with Zixtal as her second-in-command. On Earth, President Harrison addressed the world one more time. "We face a threat greater than any we've known," she said, her voice steady. "But we face it not as humans alone, but as a united front of two species who have seen the best and worst of each other and chosen to stand together." As the hybrid fleet prepared to meet the incoming invasion force, Dr. Ivanova, her mind still linked with her Zarkath counterpart, smiled. "You know," she said to no one in particular, "I think we might have just rewritten the definition of humanity." The ship's engines hummed to life, a perfect harmony of human ingenuity and Zarkath power. As they accelerated towards their destiny, Captain Rodriguez gave the order that would echo through history. "All ships, prepare for light speed. Let's show the universe what we can do together." And with that, humanity and their former enemies, now allies, took their first united step into the cosmic arena, ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy might throw at them, together. Redefining strength. The hybrid fleet of Earth and Zarkath ships hung in space at the edge of the solar system, a testament to the unprecedented alliance forged in the crucible of war and understanding. On the bridge of the flagship, now christened Unity, Captain Elena Rodriguez stood shoulder to shoulder with her unlikely co-commander, former Supreme Commander Zixtal. "They're here," Zixtal announced, his multifaceted eyes fixed on the sensor readouts. The main Zarkath invasion force had arrived, their massive ships dwarfing even the considerable fleet that Earth had faced before. Rodriguez took a deep breath. "Open a channel," she ordered. "Let's see if we can reason with them before this turns into another bloodbath." The face that appeared on the view screen was eerily similar to Zixtal's, yet harder, colder. Fleet Overlord Vexicor, supreme leader of the Zarkath Empire, glared at the assembled bridge crew with undisguised contempt. "Zixtal," Vexicor growled, "you shame our entire species by standing with these primitives. Step aside. We will cleanse this system of the human infestation and reclaim our honor." Zixtal straightened to his full height. "Overlord, you don't understand. The humans have shown us a better way. Their strength." "Silence," Vexicor roared. "You've been corrupted by their weakness. This ends now." As the transmission cut off, Rodriguez turned to her crew. "Well, we tried diplomacy. Sky, is the package ready?" The blue-haired hacker nodded grimly. "Ready and waiting, Captain. But remember, we'll only get one shot at this. Then we'd better make it count," Rodriguez replied. "All ships, battle stations, and may whatever gods are out there have mercy on us all." The space between the fleets erupted in a dazzling display of energy weapons and explosions. The Zarkath invasion force, driven by generations of martial pride and technological superiority, expected a swift victory. What they encountered instead was a defense that combined the best of both human and Zarkath capabilities. Earth fighters, piloted by humans neurally linked with Zarkath navigators, danced through the battlefield with impossible agility. Zarkath cruisers, their systems augmented by Earth's resilient biology, shrugged off hits that would have crippled them before. But for all their newfound strength, the hybrid fleet was still grossly outnumbered. As the battle raged on, ships on both sides fell to the relentless barrage. In the midst of the chaos, a small, nondescript vessel slipped away from the Unity. On board, Dr. Lena Ivanova and a team of human and Zarkath scientists worked feverishly at their consoles. "We're in position," the pilot announced. "Initiating cloaking sequence." Ivanova nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. "All right, everyone. This is what we've trained for. Sky, start the broadcast." Back on the Unity, Rodriguez watched as the tide of battle slowly turned against them. "We can't hold out much longer," she muttered. "Where's that signal?" As if in answer, a soft chime sounded from Sky Station. The hacker's face lit up with fierce joy. Package delivered, Captain. Commencing upload. Now. Across the Zarkath invasion fleet, an invisible wave swept through their neural networks. The virus, a unique hybrid of human coding and Zarkath neural patterns, bypassed their considerable defenses as if they weren't even there. On the Zarkath flagship, Overlord Vexcor clutched his head in sudden pain. What is this? He gasped. And then he saw. Through the virus, the experiences of the hybrid fleet, the shared memories, the newfound understanding between humans and Zarkath flooded into the minds of the invasion force. They felt the terror of Earth's people as their cities burned, the confusion of the Zarkath as their neural implants failed. They experienced the moment of connection, the dawning realization that there was another way. Across the invasion fleet, weapons fell silent. Ships hung motionless in space as their crews grappled with the enormity of what they were experiencing. "Now, Zixtal," Rodriguez said quietly, "it's your move." Zixtal stepped forward. His voice carried across the entire Zarkath fleet. "My brothers, my sisters," he began, "I know what you're feeling. The confusion, the fear. For generations, we've defined ourselves by our strength, our ability to conquer. But today, we've been shown a different kind of strength." As he spoke, the view screens came to life with images from Earth. Humans and Zarkath working side by side to rebuild cities. The first successful neural link between the species. The launch of the hybrid fleet. "The humans could have destroyed us," Zixtal continued. "We were defeated, helpless. Instead, they chose to save us, to understand us. They showed us that true strength lies not in domination, but in cooperation, in the ability to grow, to change, to become more than we were." On the Zarkath flagship, Vexicor slowly lowered his hands from his head. His eyes, once filled with contempt, now shone with something new. Understanding, wonder, and perhaps a glimmer of hope. What do we do now?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Rodriguez stepped into view. Now we talk. We learn from each other. We explore the galaxy not as conquerors, but as partners. Together, we can achieve things neither of our species could have imagined alone. For a long moment, silence reigned across both fleets. Then, slowly, Vexcor nodded. Perhaps it is time for the Zarkath to evolve." As the gravity of the moment settled over everyone, a cheer went up from the hybrid fleet. Humans and Zarkath embraced, their differences forgotten in the joy of averting another war and the promise of a brighter future. In the days that followed, the work of true peace began. It wasn't easy. Centuries of Zarkath imperial culture couldn't be undone overnight, and many humans still harbored fears and resentments from the invasion. But step by step, the two species moved forward together. The Zarkath, their vast knowledge of the galaxy now tempered by human creativity and adaptability, helped Earth take its first real steps into interstellar society. Humanity, in turn, showed the Zarkath new ways of thinking, of problem-solving, of finding strength in diversity rather than uniformity. 1 month after the averted battle, representatives from Earth and the former Zarkath Empire stood before the newly formed Galactic Council. Captain Rodriguez, now Admiral Rodriguez, addressed the assembled alien species. "We come before you not as conquerors, not as victims, but as proof of what can be achieved when different cultures come together. We've redefined what it means to be strong. And we're here to invite all of you to join us in building a galaxy where cooperation trumps conflict, where understanding defeats fear." As she spoke, Dr. Ivanova and Sky worked behind the scenes, their neural interfaces allowing them to communicate complex ideas to the alien translators in real time. Zixtal and Vexicor stood proudly alongside the human delegation, living proof of the change they were proposing. "The road ahead won't be easy," Rodriguez continued. "We'll face challenges we can't even imagine yet. But together, united in our diversity, there's nothing we cannot overcome." As the council chambers erupted in a mix of cheers, curious murmurs, and thoughtful silence, Earth and its former enemies took their place on the galactic stage. The first chapter of humanity's great cosmic adventure had come to a close, but the real story, the story of a united galaxy, of strength through diversity, of the indomitable spirit of life itself, was just beginning. Back on Earth, as news of the council meeting spread, people gathered in the rebuilt cities, in the countryside, on ships at sea. They looked up at the stars, no longer with fear, but with hope and excitement. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers, challenges and opportunities, but they would face it all with their new allies by their side.